how long do I have to wait for my favorite game to not have a graphical glitch? Yo, what is up, my beautiful people? As you can see on the table before me, I have two 8-inch gaming handhelds. Now, one is clearly inferior and one is clearly superior. I'm not gonna say which is which, but if you know the Barely Average Dude, you know which one I would say is the best 8-inch handheld right now. But if size doesn't matter, and if you don't need 8 inches, you guys should check out this. I'm not sponsored. This is the Thumby Color. It is a mini handheld gaming device inspired by the Game Boy Advance. It does actually have games on it. You can actually program your own games onto this, but it is a fully fledged gaming device. All the buttons work, A, B, the D-pad even has L and R there. This is a fully programmable and customizable gaming device. It has the code. You can write your own games. It has a whole community that makes games for this. I'll leave a link to this in the description. I'm not sponsored, but the only reason I'm including this in the video is because I met the creator of this device at a convention and he hooked me up with this. So I just have to give a shout out to this amazing company, amazing device here. This is called the Thumby Color. Yo, this is sick. But anyway, let's get back to the video. Now, if you do need an 8-inch device, I have a device today that I'm bringing back into the collection, and that is none other than the MSI Claw. Now, when I say I'm bringing this back into the collection, I mean, if you've been watching this channel, you would know that the original MSI Claw, I sent it back. I sent it back because it just wasn't really doing it for me. And now this new MSI Claw 8, it really needs to make up for that. It really needs to right the wrongs of the original Claw, because the original Claw was the first and only handheld that I've ever returned in my entire life. And I have over, I don't know, 30 handheld PCs at this time, and the Claw is the only one to go back. It didn't feel like it was worth the price. The drivers were an issue. The performance was not really there in comparison to the other handhelds on the market. And I just didn't feel like it was worth my $800 and something to be wasted down the drain. But this new MSI Claw is out. Been out for a while now. It's almost impossible to get this thing. I was finally able to get it. You can't get it. I couldn't get it at Best Buy. I couldn't get it at Amazon. Couldn't get it anywhere. I finally got it from B&H. Is where I get my camera equipment from. B&H happened to have it in stock, and here it is today. So we're going to be diving into this box here, the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus, whatever that means, and we're going to be seeing if this thing can redeem the MSI Claw line in my family. Will I be keeping this thing, or is it going back? That's the real question. Is this thing fixed the issues of the original version? Now, I hear people hyping it up. I'm not sure how many people actually have this thing. Let me know in the comments if you even have this thing. Before we open the box officially, make sure you smash that like button, make sure you subscribe, ring the bell, all that great YouTube stuff, so I can keep coming to you with more Barely Average Dude videos like this. Now, this is the moment of truth. We are opening the box. And as I'm opening this, I just want to tell you guys that I'm not like a Intel hater. I know in the past I've given Intel some flack, but that's because I want to see Intel succeed. My first ever handheld PC was actually an Intel handheld, the Onexplayer F1 and I still have that handheld to this day. So I want to see Intel succeed, but they just have been sort of behind in these last few generations. They've been behind AMD with the performance, with the drivers, with everything like that. And I can't ignore that. I want to see them succeed, and that's why I'm so hard on them. AMD kind of has it figured out, and I want to see them do better, so that's why I feel the way I do. Now, we open the box. All we really get is the Claw and the charger. I do like that it has a long cable. Like, I do like it has this actual long cable, but what I don't like is like they have the wrong part detachable. I wish that this part was detachable, because if this breaks, it's not like a regular USB-C plug where you can plug in any cable. You're kind of stuck with this cable, and if this breaks, you're kind of out of luck. So I do like that it has this long extension, but I do wish that this was detachable. Anyway, nothing else in the box. Here is the device. It's like we got right to it. They didn't give us much goodies. Here is the MSI Claw. Here it is, you guys. Here is the device. Let's just look around it at first. Let's just look around the device, give it a chance. What do we see as far as ports? We have two USB 4. I believe that's actually Thunderbolt, but they're both going to give 40 gigabits. I believe they are. Yeah, they are both Thunderbolt. You can see the Thunderbolt symbol there. So they're going to give you, 40 gigabits per second. We have a power button, which I think that was a fingerprint reader, headphone jack, and volume buttons. And then we have our bumpers. Okay, bumpers feel much better than the original Claw. they feel decently tactile and a good bit of travel and rebound and actuation, so that does feel good. Triggers, the triggers are not the best. Triggers are not, they don't have much travel, and the rebound kind of feels a little underwhelming. That's not the hugest deal. I just wish it had a little bit more travel there, just to make it feel a little bit more confident as far as range of motion and control for like racing games where you want to get that really fine-tuned control. This feels like it may be a little bit limiting, but of course I haven't played anything yet, so I can't really tell for sure. We have 2 buttons on the back, which is nice to see. 2 back buttons that feel decently, you know, clickable and usable. Let's see these face buttons. Okay, face buttons feel good. Thumbsticks, not the biggest thumbsticks in the world, but almost, you know, Xbox size. So what else? Oh, D-pad. Okay, D-pad feels decently good. Similar to an Xbox Series controller, where it has almost like an 8-way D-pad, where you have the bumps, and then you have sort of like that in between. It's not just like a 4-way. You kind of have that circular motion, but it is a pretty substantial divot there. I don't know if you can see how it's sort of like a concave D-pad there. Buttons on here feel decent. Start, select, and there's going to be some other, maybe the M center button, and I'm not sure what the other button is, but they're going to be software buttons there. And yeah, everything feels decent. Now, ergonomics test. Ergonomics test. This is the moment that I've really been waiting for. I want to feel how this device feels in the hand. Okay, ergonomics, not too bad. I would say I wish it had a little bit more grip. The grip, it kind of is a little bit misleading, because from the side, it looks like it has a decent amount of grip. But then you put it up against something like this, what is it, the A1X, and it's like, okay, similar grip. But no, because you can see here, this is a much more substantial grip here. You see here, it's a much like less pronounced bump there. It looks like a lot of grip from the side, but then you look at it, there's not that much actually to hold on to. You can see here, there's not very much to hold on to, so I'll hold it how I usually hold it, and I'll show you the back. There's not actually much to hold on to. You can see that? Like, if you have large hands, like, it's not much to hold on to. Like, if I cup my hand, you can see I can cup my hand. There's so much space in there. I have to really get in there because it's not actually a lot of grip. So you can see on the A1X, look at that. You see that cup? My hand is cupped and I can hold the device by the actual grip there. Much more grip. I'm trying to show it to you guys. Not sure how it comes up with a camera, but you can just see this bump right here, very small. This bump right here, very much more pronounced. So you can see here, try to hold the claw with just your hand, and it's very hard to hold that by the grip itself. You're gonna have to actually like dig your fingernails into the back to hold it. So I would say, as far as ergonomics go, it's not as ergonomic as the A1X. It does feel decently comfortable, but it's not as much grip as I would like, especially from the side when it looks like it has grip, but then when you actually hold it, it's just too gradual. You see that? I'm trying to show this on video. I'm trying to show it on video properly, but it's just way too gradual. There's not much grip on there. Hopefully this makes sense, you guys. Hopefully, like, look at this. Look at this grip compared to this grip here. It's just not as much grip, but I will say decently comfortable. Not as comfortable as the A1X, but I will say it is decently comfortable. Feels slightly more comfortable than the ROG Ally X, I will say, just because the size and just the way that it sits in my hand, and maybe because it's larger than the Ally X. But I'm gonna put it side by side soon, and then you guys can see how that actually looks. But let's peel this off. So you guys, like I said, this thing really needs to win me over, because the original one, it just wasn't really doing it for me. It wasn't really there. I think I'm gonna have to charge this, but it just wasn't really there. It had a lot of issues with drivers. I'm gonna test the game. I did a lot of soul searching and dialogue with myself. I said, what is it gonna take to get me to keep this thing? And I was talking a lot about, you know, if it has glitches in this game, if it has driver issues in this game, I'm gonna send it back. I had this long list of things that I would send it back for, and I was like, let me just bring it down. Let me just bring my expectations much lower. And I said to myself, if it can play one game, and that game is Returnal, if it can play Returnal without any graphical glitches, because that's one of my favorite games, and that's the game that notoriously in the previous generation had a lot of graphical glitches. If it can run Returnal without any of the graphical glitches that were in the previous generation, I will give it a chance and I will keep it. If it still has the same graphical glitches, it's going back. So now you guys know what it's gonna take to get me to keep this. It's very simple. I brought my expectations way low. I'm gonna have to test hundreds of games on this, but I said at least if one, as long as one game passes my test, I'll keep this thing around. So we're gonna put it to the test and we're gonna see what it's like. Just know that, you guys, my criteria for keeping this thing is if it can play Returnal without the previous generation graphical glitches. It's very simple. If that's too much, then I don't know what to tell you guys. This thing was like $1,000. There's no way that I gotta make excuses and make compromises at this price point. Come on, the A1X was less than that on Kickstarter. So I'm not gonna really make much compromises when I can play a superior device. I'm just saying. But anyway, see what this thing looks like next to some of the other devices on the market today. Okay, so the MSI Claw is on now. Let's first get the weight of this device here first before we compare it to any others. It is 796 grams, so that's pretty heavy actually. Compared to another 8-inch device, the A1X, this is about 750 grams. So yeah, it is a bit heavier than the A1X here. Now let's look at the size comparisons here. Now this is an 8-inch device as well, so similar size. Now the MSI Claw is just slightly wider here, ever so slightly wider than the A1X, not too much, but you can see a slight difference there in the overall form factor. These are pretty much in the same size category, if you ask me. Okay, so another popular device here. This is the ROG Ally X, a 7-inch device. You can see not a big size difference here. I think the Ally X is kind of famous for being larger than the screen size suggests, or maybe the 8-inch devices are just, you know, utilizing their screen size at a better ratio. But you can see here, not much difference here. You know, to have a smaller screen is something to definitely consider. But here you have the size difference between the Ally X and the MSI Claw 8. Okay, so going back up to 8 inches or 7.9 technically, we have the Nintendo Switch 2. As you can see here, you know, pretty similar screen size. This is just a 16:9 aspect ratio versus a 16:10 aspect ratio, 1200p versus 1080p. But you can see the size difference there. I do have a case on my Switch 2, the Kill Switch case. So it does add like a tiny bit, you know, a few millimeters on the side, but overall footprint remains the same in my opinion. Here you see the difference here. Now going beyond 8 inches to the big boy, the big dog, the Lenovo Legion Go. Here you can see the difference there. This is a much wider device, not so much wider, but wide enough where you can sort of start to see that size difference. Overall, this is an 8.8-inch display versus the 8-inch display here, and now you can really see those 0.8 inches, you know, represented in this comparison here. All right, taking a step up to the behemoth, the biggest big dog of all of them, the Onexplayer X1. Take a look at that. This is a huge 11-inch display next to this 8-inch display here, 1600p. Yeah, this thing is just enormous next to the MSI Claw. It's like just the tablet itself is like bigger than the entire MSI Claw device here, but I absolutely love this thing. It's just a massive device next to the MSI Claw 8 here. Okay, sticking in the realm of the big dogs here, we have another heavy hitter, the AYANEO KUN. Perfect ergonomics. The MSI Claw has not dethroned this as far as ergonomics go. This is an 8.4-inch display versus the 8-inch display of the MSI Claw. If you ever held this device, you know this thing feels amazing in the hand, and here you can see the size difference. Okay, here it is next to a fan favorite, the Steam Deck OLED. Here is a limited edition. We have a 7.4-inch display versus the 8-inch display here. Now the Steam Deck is a very large device, one of the largest you know, mainstream devices on the market right now. but here is the side by side. Okay, going back down into the realm of the small devices, this is where it gets exciting. We have the Onexplayer F1 Pro here with a 7-inch display. I absolutely love this device here. It is OLED, 144 Hz, 1080p, amazing performance with the HX370. I cannot say enough great things about this device, and it actually feels great in the hand. Even though it has a small size, it still feels good. Love this device here, and I am on record saying this is one of my favorites. Here it is, side by side, much smaller device. You can just see the overall footprint. It's smaller in every dimension, length, width, and height or depth, whatever you want to call it. It is just a much smaller device. So there you go. Now that's it for the size comparisons. Now there's gonna be one more section in this video. I'm gonna give you my initial, thoughts on this device. I'm gonna put it to the test in some future videos. Before I actually tell you my full first thoughts and impressions, I'm gonna set this device up. I'm going to install just one game, Returnal, and I'm gonna see if it still has that glitch from the previous generation. And if it doesn't have that glitch, I'm gonna say that it has a chance. If it still has that same glitch, it's going back in the box and it's going back, and you're gonna see it here, right here, live. All right, you guys, so it's the next day. I've done all the updates, all the installs, reinstalls, uninstalls, and everything in between, right? I'm still having some issues with Returnal. I didn't let myself get frustrated and put it back in the box. I committed that if it can pass the Returnal benchmark test, then that would be the determining factor as if I keep this device. Now, as you can see here, I'm already having some issues with this game. I can't change the display mode, or I can't pick the monitor, or I can't change the display mode here. So it's just stuck on window mode. I can't change it. No matter what I do, uninstall, reinstall, driver update, driver change. I'm gonna keep working on it. I'm not gonna let that get to me. I'm gonna keep working on it. Like I said, I'm just gonna run the benchmark. And if it can survive the benchmark, without any graphical glitches, I will keep it. For now, that was my word. Anyway, here we go. We're gonna run the benchmark and we're gonna see how this thing actually does. If it can just get through this benchmark without any graphical glitches, it will pass the test. I know I'm rambling on, but this benchmark is still going on. I want you guys to see it live. I want you to see it live. I haven't run this benchmark yet. I've just been going through all the settings, trying to get it to be, in a good spot. But it wants to work against me. I'm gonna go back and see if we can fix that later. We're going to the benchmark now. Now here it's coming up. The shields are coming up. And here we have it. You see these shields here? It's supposed to be like a translucent shield, but it's like just a blob. And that's the same glitch. That's the same glitch you've been having since the previous generation. I don't know. I don't understand how many driver updates we need just to fix graphical glitches like this. And this is the reason why I'm so apprehensive towards Intel. I don't hate Intel. It's just that you never know when a game is gonna get fixed. Like, it's been over a year since I had like the first, the previous generation. And there's been like dozens of updates at this, probably like 20 updates at this point. But we're still seeing graphical glitches. Now, as far as performance goes, it performs pretty decent. 46 FPS in this benchmark is pretty decent. The HX370 can get around 50 to 52 at 1080p with these same settings. We are at 30 watts here. So I would say the performance is decent. The performance itself is not bad, but that's why I say you can't just go by the benchmarks. Because if I just went by the benchmark, I would say, oh hey, that's like almost on par with the HX370. But it's like we're still getting graphical glitches. And I know this is only one example of one game, but look at this. This is one of my favorite games. So are you saying I should just accept that one of my favorite games has graphical glitches for over a year? Or I can just play it on here and all my other games and I can have a great time without any graphical glitches? That's what I'm talking about. It's like, it's not the fact that, oh, some benchmarks it performs well. Some benchmarks it's on par with the HX370, it's one frame below, it's one frame above. That's not the issue. It's that some games still have graphical glitches and you don't know if it's gonna be fixed with an update. You don't know how long do I have to wait for my favorite game to not have a graphical glitch? And I know that people are gonna say, well, you're biased, you're only testing one game. Okay, that's my criteria. If your game works perfectly, then great. But I'm telling you, there are still games that have issues. I've tested over 100 games on the HX370. None of the games have the graphical glitch. And especially not my favorite game, Returnal, one of my favorite games, doesn't have that graphical glitch. So why should I settle For what am I doing? I'm giving Intel and MSI money just for what? For research and development? Why should I do that? I know I'm sounding overly passionate and overly upset. I'm not upset. I'm just like, I'm disappointed. Because like I always say, my first handheld ever was an Intel-based handheld. I want to see them do better. But it's like, I don't know. Is it impossible to fix some games? Let me know in the comments. Like, is it impossible for them to fix some games because of the game engine or the architecture? Like, what is it? Because we're still having graphical glitches that we had over a year ago in the new updated version. Like, so that's why I'm just like, am I gonna send it back? Cause I was kind of hoping that it wouldn't have the graphical glitch, so I can say, hey, you guys, I'm not gonna send it back. And I almost feel like I'm obligated to send it back because that was my word. I don't know, you guys. Let me know in the comments if I should send this thing back, because it hasn't fixed the issue that I said was gonna be the critical issue. You know, I haven't really put this thing through its paces and tested dozens of games yet. So maybe it's like 1 out of every 100 games. But if that 1 out of every 100 happens to be my favorite game, should I keep it? Or should I just play the game? Or should I just play the device that plays all 100 games without glitches? It's like, I don't know. It's $1,000. It's not like it's cheap. It's $1,000. This was $9.99, and I got this right here for like, I think $9.49 with the Indiegogo. So it's not like the price is much lower where it's like, oh, I can forgive the one graphical glitch game, and you know, 1 out of every 10 games may have a glitch, but it's okay. It's only $500, but it's not. It's $1,000. With tax, this was like $1,100. Like, should I keep a device around that doesn't play my favorite game to my standards? It's like, I don't know, you guys. But anyway, let me know in the comments down below. Like, subscribe, ring that bell, all that great YouTube stuff. I'm gonna keep this around. I'm gonna look at the comments and see what you guys think. I'll keep it around for now. But you know, as that return window gets closer, I may have to reevaluate. But for now, I'm not gonna just put it back in the box and ship it off. But I'm kind of upset, you guys. I was hoping that this thing would do better. I was hoping it would do better. I was hoping it would be fixed. Is it fixed? The answer is no. It's getting better day by day, as people say, but it's still not there yet. I think it's still being held back by the Intel drivers. And you can say, well, my games work perfectly. Well, that's your games. And my game, it doesn't work perfectly. So what do you say to that? Get over it? Well, you should get over the fact that I don't like it. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.